The next submission that we're going to work on is the triangle choke from the guard position. We have our opponent in our guard. There's a couple common ways to set this up. Probably the most common is when your opponent attempts a single underpass. So your opponent has reached one leg under your legs. There's a couple different ways to get him there if he won't do this, but what I want to do is reach up and control his head. Take this leg, notice my foot, just like the arm bar, is on his hip, and I create this 90-degree angle. I got to take this arm, it has to be across here. If his elbow is across my body, I'm never going to complete this choke. Okay? So again, our opponent goes one arm under. Immediately, this foot goes to the hip. I create a 90-degree angle, just like I'm setting up the arm bar. I take my leg over his head, right there. His arm comes across. Now, I'm going to complete the choke by taking this leg and hooking it over my other leg, here, pointing my toes toward the floor. Very, very tight choke. Okay, one more time. Our opponent goes for the single underpass. As he does that, my foot immediately comes to his hip. Up and over. Our bodies are at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to take this foot, reach up and down. If I need help with it, I can grab the back of his head and pull it toward me. Or if I need help with it, when I have the choke, I can come up on my elbows and scoot away from him. Very, very tight choke. Going the other way. Our opponent attempts a single underpass. Immediately, this foot goes to his hip. This leg comes up and over. I drag his arm across like the arm bar. Other leg comes up, point toes toward the floor. Let's look at that from another angle. We're here in the guard. Our opponent is going to attempt a single underpass. Our other foot goes to his hip. We control his head and his arm. Turn at a 90-degree angle. My leg comes up. I really got to reach up high for this. I'm not trying to do this with my legs just kind of crossed up here. I'm really reaching up high. And now I point my toes toward the floor. Notice my legs. I'm really completing this choke by having my legs here. I'm not getting this with my leg up here. This leg is going to be in the center of the bend of my knee. Right there. So if I'm going this way, I hook, point toward the floor. Making a triangle with my legs. Let's look at that from the other side. Our opponent goes for single underpass. This foot goes to the hip. Controlling his arm, controlling his head, create a 90-degree angle while dragging his arm across. Reaching way up with this leg and then pointing it toward the floor. Triangle choke. As your triangle choke from the guard position, work it very carefully and really have your opponents tap early because they'll go out pretty quickly with this choke.